everybody, welcome back to the Raw Read. I am so glad you decided to stop by and see what I'm reading on. But before we get started, y'all know how we do it over here. We always get the shout outs out the way because y'all are the most important people. Y'all are. Y'all ride so hard for me, and I appreciate every time, every time you decide to come through and support the channel. So let's run that beautiful bean footage of all the squatties that came on through, and then we'll talk on the other side. Y'all, I want to give a quick shout out to my girl Lorna McKenzie. Yes, Lorna came through and I am so grateful to her. She is a ride or die. She is the best of the best and I am so lucky to have her. So thank you, Lorna. Thank you for the super thanks, but most of all, thank you for being here. And my guy, Kevin Slims. Yes, Kevin came through again. He is just everything. He really is. And he is so faithful and he is so down for the read. He is going to support the read. And I appreciate him so very much. So thank you, Kevin. Thank you for the super thanks, but most of all, thank you for being here. All right, y'all. Y'all know what time it is, and y'all know what I do when I am putting the read together. I hit these internet streets, and let me tell you, we have a lot to talk about as usual. And what we are really going to talk a lot about is our favorite prince. Now, Harry popped out, and I told y'all about that in my last podcast. Yes, he was at the NBA finals between the New York Knicks and the San Antonio Spurs. And we all know that Harry was invited by the commissioner of the NBA. And so, of course, all eyes was on Harry. Harry always brings the eyeballs. And when Harry brings the eyeballs, what does that raggedy press over there across the pond do? They lose their SHIT. And they have been losing it over the fact that Harry absolutely continues to mind his business and show them that he is so unbothered by anything that is going on across the pond. They want Harry to be bothered so bad, and some of the ridiculous headlines that are coming out of Harry just simply attending a basketball game and minding his business absolutely has all of those flying monkeys across the pond losing what little mind that they have left, to the point where Harry and Meghan's spokesperson came out and pretty much called them batshit crazy. And we're going to talk about that. And we're going to talk about Harry also attending the Warrior games while he was in San Antonio. Yes, Harry was at the Warrior games handing out medals and participating. I love this because we all know that Harry was inspired by the Warrior games to create Invictus. I just love the fact that Harry didn't abandon the Warrior games after he created Invictus. Harry continues to participate in the Warrior games, and I just love that. And we're going to talk about that. And we're going to talk about how Kensington Palace is trying to use the protests as a way to garner good press for Kitty. Yes, they want to try to say that the protesters were booing the children and not her, and talking about how she was mean mugging the protesters. And a little FYI, it is not the responsibility of the protesters to protect the royal children. That would be the responsibility of their parents and that institution. They managed to protect them from everything else. Why can't they protect them from this? But we know they want those children there because Kitty wants to use them as a shield. Because if she was the only one in that carriage and got booed, she would have had to shoulder the whole responsibility of getting booed. And she didn't want that. She wanted to use the children as shields. And so when you do that, you get what you get. And what did she get? She got booed. That's what she got. And also, I am going to talk about something that's not my business, but y'all know I never mind my own business. I leave that up to Megan because Megan is a master at minding her own business. I mean, she absolutely should teach university classes in how to do it because she's good at it. Me, not so much. But I digress. And what I'm going to talk about is David and Victoria Beckham. Yes, we're going to talk about what's been going on with them and how every day they show us exactly who they are. Just a bunch of clout chasing fame whores. And yes, they are at it again, proving what their son Brooklyn said about them is absolutely true. And we're going to talk about that. And of course, we got other stuff we're going to talk about. So, what y'all need to do, y'all need to lock in and just know I'm not going to keep you long, but I will keep you entertained. And we're going to start with this. And squatties are still basking in the glow of our prince popping out at the NBA Finals game. And people just absolutely loving up on him. And like I said earlier, and like I named my video, all eyes was on Harry. Yes, this squatty said no one booed him. Where is the lie? Because the opposite happened for Harry. Yes, everybody was warm and welcoming and happy to see him at the game. This squatty said, look at him looking fresh and happy. He's living his best life in the U.S. Freedom really looks good on him. He will never return to that leftover life. And why should he? The things he has been doing while he was still a working royal, he is doing now and more as a free man, far away from the British media and their mouthpieces. Although the British media acts as if Harry and Meghan lives around the corner, the way they talk about him, the way they have talked about Harry attending this game, they have gone out of their way to cook up a narrative that makes no sense just so they can have Harry's name in their mouths and on the pages of those rags over there. It makes no sense that Harry and Meghan lives across a continent and they still act as if they live in the United Kingdom. It makes no sense. It doesn't. But we all know one thing about the rags, they don't have to make any sense. They just want to make money. And Harry and Meghan are their cash cow, and they cannot keep their names out of their mouths. And speaking of the made up narrative that they put forth to try to smear Harry, try to bring him down because they know Harry is the superstar of that family. And anytime he steps on the world stage, it don't even have to be the world stage. It can be at a basketball game. Harry's presence make it the world stage because the world always take note to whatever Harry's doing. And this squatty said, notice how the negative stories about Prince Harry is created out of nowhere. Harry was walking to his seat. A veteran recognized him, goes over and hugs him, and Spike Lee is sitting there. He talks to Harry. They shake hands. Harry walks away. The New York Post, while having this video, writes a whole different story about Spike Lee not shaking Harry's hand. And in the end of the story, they admit that they did shake hands. And as you can see, Here is the page 6 article. I saw this when Harry first arrived. This is one of the negative stories that came out, but I chose to ignore it because I did not want to give it any oxygen. I really did not think it was a big deal. This is just what these rags do. So I decided I was not going to give it any attention. But now that they have gone with this as their narrative to try to smear Harry, I decided I needed to say something and just reiterate the fact that it is a video out there that absolutely debunks everything that these rags are saying. And to me, it only proves that it is not about the truth. It's not about anything except the smear campaign and the clicks and views for these people. And that is the reason why so many squatties are in those comments, calling out these rags for the liars that they are, and myself included, because I've been in those comments too, calling them a effing liar. And I didn't say effing either. I used the word because I am so tired and annoyed with these people. They just won't quit. And because of that, we can't quit. We can't quit. We have to do two things at the same time. We have to absolutely uplift our faves and fight against the narrative that these fools are putting out here on these internet streets. This squatty said the UK trash news was so smug, they assumed that Harry was watching Trooping from Montecito with regret. In fact, Harry had an active weekend that did not involve the leftover Royals at all. First the U.S. Warrior games, then the epic NBA Game 5, and now the Warrior Games barbecue. Exactly. Harry just absolutely popped out and showed them how unbothered he was. And that really got them because they want Harry and Meghan to regret that they left that family over there. And Harry and Meghan shows them every time they pop out that they have no regret. They regret nothing. But that family and all of those flying monkeys over there, the toadies, all of them, they want Harry and Meghan to regret their decision to leave so bad. That is the reason why they cannot handle the truth. So they lie and make up false narratives and lie some more because they don't want to admit that their smear campaign has failed, that Harry and Meghan ain't coming back. And after 7, almost 8 years, they still cannot move on. They can't let go. And while they were wallowing in their bitterness, this is what Harry was up to. Y'all can see the San Antonio Express News says Prince Harry surprised athletes at Warrior games in San Antonio. But we all know how Harry moves. This wasn't a surprise. It was only a surprise to the media. The people, they knew he was coming. All of this was planned out. Harry and Meghan are meticulous when it comes to planning. And here's Harry giving out medals at the Warrior Games. This squatty that posted about it said, Prince Harry congratulates gold medalist Major Jonathan Turnbull, an Army veteran who lost his sight. Yes, Harry is there showing up, doing good. And like I said earlier, what I love about Harry is this. He never forgot the Warrior Games. Even though Invictus has grown to be bigger than the Warrior Games, Harry still reaches back. He still goes to the Warrior Game. He still supports. And I just love this about Harry. It just speaks to his character that he is not in this for the accolades. He is in it because he cares. He really cares about these veterans Because if he didn't, he wouldn't show up for a little small event like the Warrior Games, because the Warrior Games is very small compared to Invictus. But Harry is always supporting veterans. It doesn't matter how small, how unseen it is, Harry is there supporting. It is not for his own grandeur, it is for his brothers and his comrades of war, the people he loved, the people he's dedicated to, the people he serves, the vets. And this, Squatty said, Prince Harry joined the Warrior Games family program today, serving up barbecue cooked up by the United Airlines barbecue team of families, competitors, and staff. Yes, and as you can see, there's Harry serving up the Texas barbecue. And nothing is better than Texas barbecue. Let me tell you, I used to live in Texas. So I know it is good barbecue in Texas. So yeah, Harry was there. He was. Harry is so humble and down to earth. He is a prince of men. That's why I don't care if they take the titles. Let them take the titles, because at the end of the day, it is more to Harry than a title. Harry is a prince among men. Okay, he just is. And he doesn't need a princely title to prove it. He proves it each and every time he steps on the world stage, that he is who he says he is. And like this squatty right here says, the people's prince. That's who he is. And he is who we say he is. And that's it. And yeah, that's him. That one right there. He is the people's prince, Prince of Hearts. And Henry VIII said this: the contrast can't be more clear. Turns out you don't need to parade your kids around in a golden carriage to perform service. Yeah, looks that way, doesn't it? I love this. I do. I love this picture. I love this picture. And GB News is so bitter about all of this. They are mad because Harry hadn't dug a hole and pulled the dirt in behind him while he lay there pining to be a part of that family again. This is why they are so bitter, because Harry just pops out and is unbothered. They said Prince Harry is now just a spectator as the royal family has truly moved on without him. We can only wish, because the whole time that dull as dishwater parade of fossils called a trooping of the color was going on, Meghan was at her Montecito mansion having game night with her best girlies, drinking wine and eating snacks. And Harry was at the Warrior Games and the NBA championship game, having a good time, whooping it up with all the stars and his fellow veterans. Yes, Harry was out having a ball. And he was a special guest of the NBA commissioner. Yes, Harry walked in with the NBA commissioner, and all eyes was on him. Yes, we all know our prince can draw some eyeballs. But I digress. This squatty came up under this GB News post and said, while the family was baking in the sun and pretending to care about this horse and pony parade, Harry was attending the Warrior Games, and then he went to the NBA Finals game in San Antonio. He's not watching what those people over there are doing. Exactly. Harry is living his best life. Yes, Harry is enjoying himself. Harry has no concern when it comes to that family over there. But they want Harry to feel something, and Harry feels nothing. And I love that for them. I do. And one more thing about this, look at the picture that they used for this article. They want something from Harry that he doesn't have to give. And that is a damn. He don't give a damn about anything that's going on over there across the pond. Yes, he has no more dams to give. And this squatty said Prince Harry is now merely a spectator as the royal family has truly moved on without him. This squatty said, Biachi, about damn time. The Sussexes have been gone for over 6 years, and Prince Harry has told you again and again that he is not coming back. Exactly. They really thought they had a burn with that one, but in actuality, everybody has moved on except y'all, except the people across the pond, because Harry went on television and said that he and his wife was moving on, and that's exactly what they did 6 years ago. I cannot. And I'm going to switch gears because they are still talking about Kate getting booed over there across the pond. Now, those rags over there, of course, is trying to make it into something that it's not. They're saying that George, Charlotte, and Louis got booed. And we all know that carriage would have been booed if those kids were in it or not, because Kate was going to get booed. She has gotten booed every trooping of the color since the Queen died. And every time her and William or any member of that family showed their face in public. Let's not forget, they got mercifully booed during the Commonwealth service. And now they want to pretend like this is something new, that this is something that hadn't happened before. Come on now. They always get booed. Ever since the Queen died, they all get booed. But now a new narrative is starting to emerge, and that is them clutching their pearls and pretending as if the protesters were booing the children, George, Charlotte, and Louis. Yes, this is the narrative they have decided to go with in order to garner some kind of empathy or sympathy from the people. And we all know Kitty is willing to do anything for positive PR, even fake cancer, even lie on her sister-in-law and say that sister-in-law made her cry. So why wouldn't she pretend that the protesters were booing the children? We all know this is their MO, Kensington Palace, trying to make someone else the scapegoat and try to build up Kitty. And that's what they're doing. And I'm afraid it's not going to work because it is too much footage out there of Kitty, Willie, the horse, and Charles, and any other member of that royal family getting booed on the regular. So it's not the kids, because they get booed when the kids are present and when they're not. So miss me with that little scenario. And this squatty posted an article from GB News, and the title is Princess of Wales' Icy Glare at Anti-Monarchy Protesters Who Booed Her, George, Charlotte, and Louis. Well, I understand that she might be a little pissed about being booed, but those people who are booing her are a lot more pissed about their taxpayer money going to a mediocre woman who has never did an honest day's work in her life, and she lives off of them. Maybe she needs to be reminded who is paying her bills. It's definitely not Willie and Charles or any of them. They all are parasites that live off the backs of the taxpayer. So what she really needs to do is to learn some respect. I'm just saying. And the squatty that posted this said, I didn't expect a leopard to eat my face. No, she didn't expect that because she thought it was going to be Harry and Meghan getting booed. And the squatty goes on to say, what did they think would happen when they encouraged the public to boo some of their own? Yeah, that's what they thought. They thought it was going to be Harry and Meghan. But in return, what has happened is that the British public has been booing that family every chance that it's gotten ever since they lowered Queen Elizabeth's coffin down in those tombs. I mean, karma has been having her way with them, has she not? She has been kissing them all right in the mouth. And this squatty said Kate knew she would be booed again. Why did she choose to bring the children knowing what would happen? Parents are supposed to protect their children and not use them as some emotional shield. And that's exactly what was going on. And anybody that has any kind of insight knows exactly why those children was in that carriage. And this squatty posted some of the articles that were written to encourage the people to boo Meghan. Look at this one from Newsweek. It says UK journalists vow to boo Prince Harry and Meghan Markle at coronation. Yes, that's when they thought Meghan was coming to the coronation. And I bet you if Meghan had come and the kids had come, those flying monkeys and all of those ugly old hag dragons would have booed Harry and Meghan right in front of Archie and Lily. You don't think they would have? You know they would have. And nothing would have been said. But yet and still, somehow they want to try to make it all about the children when we know it's about the adults using the children as emotional shields from all the booing that they are receiving. Because like I said, it is plenty times when they've been by themselves that they got booed. They knew that they were going to get booed, like this squatty said. But they wanted those kids there to be an emotional shield. And I just want to say this for the record. It is no way in HE double hockey sticks that Meghan and Harry would have subjected their children to that kind of nonsense. Because they are about their children, not about the PR. And this squatty reposted Zanny Sussex, who reposted that pie-faced Taz, because she is going with the narrative that somehow the kids were being booed. This is what old pie-faced Taz said. I have no problem with people protesting. It's their right. But I think it was rather unnecessary to do that to the children. You can hear the delight in their voices shouting at an 8-year-old, 11-year-old, and a 13-year-old. I can only imagine their nasty faces as they did it as well. Yes, this is old pie-faced Taz. Yes, old stinking butt Taz. You know, they say that, well, I ain't even gonna get into it, but I just call her stinky butt. Yeah, she's out here pretending like she is just so perclimped because Kate and the Wells children got booed. Well, Zanny Sussex had something to say on this topic. She said, zero sympathy for me. These are the same people who dehumanize the Sussex kids daily and claim that they don't exist. William and Kate fund a hate campaign that bullies a 5 and 7-year-old. You can't fund a hate campaign dehumanizing your niece and nephew and expect that your own kids will be unscathed by the bile that you spread. Where is the lie? Anytime you spew all the hateful bile onto someone else, oh yeah, it's going to be some blowback. The Sussex squad is part of the blowback. So you know it's going to be blowback. And old pie-faced Taz out here with this nonsense. And this is the same person went along with Yankee Wally, who is worm food as we speak, who made up all those vicious lies about the Sussex children, saying that Archie and Lily was dolls, that Megan had a moon bump, that these children was actors. They all went along with the fodder and continue to push that nonsense out into the universe to this day. To this day, they're still doing that nonsense. But yet and still, somehow, you want us to feel some kind of way about the Wells children? I don't think so. Keep them at home. Keep them at home. If you don't want them to be exposed to the booze, keep them at the house. And this squatty who reposted Zanny Sussex said, that itch Taz really needs to F off. The same racist people who attack Prince Harry and Meghan's children daily 24/7, saying the most disgusting things about Harry and Meghan's children, are now crying wolf about Kate's children because they got booed. Boo-hoo. It's not nice for the children, but I have no sympathy. They only got booed, not racially attacked, and the booing lasted only 1 minute. Meanwhile, the abuse of Harry and Meghan's children has been going on since the day they were born. Prove me wrong. So true. So true. You can go right now on these internet streets and they pushing a lie right now about Princess Lilibet, saying that she is a model, that she was hired out to pretend like she was Harry and Meghan's daughter. Yeah, and it's all about the beautiful, beautiful birthday portrait that Harry and Meghan posted of Princess Lilibet for her birthday. And they could not stand it, so they push a lie, a hateful, hateful lie. And all of these fevered-minded old hag dragons eat it up. And it does nothing but generate hate and more lies. But yet and still, they want us to feel some way about the Wells children getting booed for 1 minute. I don't think so. I don't think so. This squatty said, tell Mumbleton to tell her mentally unstable fans, such as this itch, Taz, and that other itch, Mo, to leave the Sussex children alone. And may everything bad Kate Middleton, Prince William's fans wish for the Sussexes continues to happen to the Wales. Exactly. Exactly. For karma to continue to knock on their door and kiss them in the mouth. And I just want to say, this is my take. It is so funny to me that Kitty and Kensington Palace is out here planning stories to use the kids against the protesters, calling the protesters vile because they booed these children for 1 minute. And really, the people at fault are their parents who subjected the kids to the booing, because both parents knew exactly what was going to happen. And they decided, in their infinite wisdom, to use those children as emotional shields. And I also want to say this, it is so funny that family always want to garner some kind of sympathy and empathy for themselves, but they have no sympathy or empathy for others. They cloak for a pedo, a accused pedo who was friends with the most prolific pedo in world history. But they have no sympathy for those children. I heard Taz talking about a 7-year-old, a 11-year-old, and a 13-year-old. Well, the same age children as the Wells children was over there on J.E.'s pedo island. And Prince Andrew, who they chose to protect, was allegedly SAing children the same age. And I hadn't heard Kitty or Willie or Charles or the horse say anything about that. What about those children? what they have been subjected to. Where is your sympathy? Where is your empathy? But yet and still, all you do is protect the pedo and not the victims. So you can miss me. And I mean completely with this nonsense about these children, because it is some children has gone through some real trauma and at the hands of that family, because we all know Andrew is not the first pedo in that family, and he probably won't be the last. And it is a lot of children who has had to suffer, and they have never, not once, including Queen Betty, came out and spoke a word of sympathy or empathy for them. So I'm gonna try not to curse. They need to move it along, because at this time I am like Zanny Sussex. I have no empathy. I have no F's to give. Y'all tell me what y'all think, but that's exactly what I think. I think you need to have some sympathy and empathy for real victims, not some children who were subjected to some light booing for 60 seconds. Like I said, y'all tell me what y'all think. And I want to change topics. I want to talk about this British documentary that came out on Saturday. I think it was on Channel 4, no, Channel 5. And y'all know how it goes on Channel 5. Every other week they have a documentary about Harry and Meghan. It is nothing but the propaganda channel at this point. I mean, Channel 5 is in the deep end of the pool when it comes to the smear campaign. They are all the way in. I mean, head, shoulders, knees, and toes, all the way in the smear campaign. And they had a new documentary out Saturday, and Kaiser from Celebrity wrote about it. And it says, there's a British documentary called Harry and Meghan Has America Had Enough? That is the name of the documentary that they had on Channel 5 Saturday about Harry and Meghan. Two people who have not lived in their country in over 6 years, almost 7 years. They have not lived in that country, and every other week is a documentary with all of these flying monkeys sitting around talking about what's going on with Harry and Meghan and how irrelevant they are. But yet and still, they're relevant enough to have a documentary on every other week. It makes no sense. Now, I have read this article, and I am going to read just some parts from it, because it is the same old warmed over nonsense from the same old flying monkeys like Richard K. and all of that bunch, talking about Spotify, talking about Netflix, talking about Oprah, and what would the greatest hits be without South Park? Yes, talking about that. When I tell you it's the same old, the same old warmed over dribble, I mean, they are like an 80s band in concert. They played all the hits. I mean, they absolutely went over each and every one as if it is news that happened yesterday or today. They really cannot quit Harry and Meghan, even though Harry and Meghan quit them. I would even say 10 years ago, Harry and Meghan was done with them, but they cannot let them go. And we know why. Because when you make these documentaries, it's a win-win, meaning that you win with the ratings, because Harry and Meghan, anything Harry and Meghan, and that's the reason why they keep their names in their mouths. And number two, the reason they win is the smear campaign. Yes, I really feel that Kensington Palace has a deal with Channel 5, to keep on cranking out this propaganda, this hate propaganda against Harry and Meghan. I mean, warming and rehashing the same old thing, regurgitating like they are a mother bird into the mouths of her babies. That is what they do week after week after week with these crazy, useless documentaries. Now, this is what Kaiser said. She said, another day, another crazy British documentary about the Duke and Duchess of Sussex. The latest is called Harry and Meghan. Has America had enough? You guys, Harry and Meghan totally broke them. The British media is going out sad AF. They are because, I mean, where did they come up with this nonsense? It says this crap airs on Channel 5 on June 13th. As you can imagine, the documentary features interviews with royal reporters, aka flying monkeys, and royal commentators, aka toadies, who are trying to convince themselves and everyone else that America has turned on Harry and Meghan. South Park, Spotify, Jesus Christ. Yeah, they want us to believe that even Jesus has turned on Harry and Meghan. And Kaiser summed up the article like this. She said a South Park episode mocking Harry and Meghan in 2023 was the tide turning. That's what they want you to believe. South Park that nobody watches. South Park that is on cable television. South Park who mocks everybody. Michael Jackson, the Pope, the one that shall not be named. They even mocked the Queen in her coffin. But yet and still, they don't say nothing about that. They only talk about the South Park episode that mocked Harry and Meghan. It says, never mind everything else that has happened in the past 6 years for Harry and Meghan in America. The NAACP Image Award, President Award, the R.F. Kennedy Ripple of Hope Award, Harry winning the Pat Tillman Award of Service at the ESPYs, Harry and Meghan having successfully sued multiple British tabloids and appeared on Time magazine covers. They've even been named two of the most influential people in the world. Meghan's startup business has been hugely successful. Harry is the CIO of Better Up. They've invested in multiple businesses. They've made millions of dollars and own their own mansion. They've raised their two children in privacy and sunshine. But South Park, and we all know that the list is even longer than that. I mean, Megan's podcast, they are award winning. Archwell, I mean, very successful charity, successful trips to Nigeria, Colombia, and most recently, Australia. I mean, the list could go on and on and on. Harry and Meghan has been booked and busy and very successful. But these people want us to believe that a mutual breakup with Spotify, a renewal of Netflix deal, which is an industry standard, and a cartoon series that absolutely spoofs everyone and hadn't been relevant since the 90s is the downfall of Harry and Meghan in America.
Shout the season, man.
Yes, I mean, these people, it is all they have to hold on to. And it is so ridiculous because when you look at it from a big picture perspective, Harry and Meghan are not the only royal couple that has been mocked. And Willie and Kitty was mocked much more shamefully than Harry and Meghan. I'm just saying, but they never bring up the episode about Willie and Kitty. I mean, Willie pulled Kitty's arm off and pegged himself on stage. but it's Harry and Meghan walking around with signs saying we want our privacy. Now, that right there is the shameful one, and that is what has turned America against Harry and Meghan. After reading this article, you really know, as an American looking at it from the inside out, these people don't know anything about America. We don't look at royalty like they look at royalty. Harry and Meghan are two private citizens over here. We don't poll them. We don't care what they're doing. We just absolutely mostly look at them like they're celebrities. If people like them, they follow them, they support them. If they don't like them, they pay them no mind, like normal, rational people. We don't follow people we hate. We follow people we like. We support people we like. I don't like Kim Kardashian. I don't go on her page or follow everything she does. I don't make a channel about her. I ignore her. The same with Kitty. I don't hate Kitty, but I don't like her either. So I don't care what she's up to. I don't follow anything that has anything to do with Kitty. If they would stop talking about Harry and Meghan today, I would never ever be checking for Kitty and Willie and Charles and his horse ever again. They would absolutely be colored invisible to me. These flying monkeys and all of these hag dragons, the rangers, toadies, and all of the trolls have this parasocial relationship with Meghan in their minds. This whole ecosystem that the British media has built around Harry and Meghan. I never saw people so intensely follow people that they say they hate. It doesn't make sense. But we all know they're just twisted fans. They are twisted fans. And this squatty posted about this and said the British reporters trying to explain America is so hilarious to me. Has America had enough? As if the Sussexes have been caravanning in Iowa and South Carolina to get the people to support them. Couple moved to America because wife is American. It's really not that deep. It is for them. It is deep as deep can get. I have never, ever, ever saw anyone so obsessed with one person that lives over 5,000 miles away, who is not a British citizen, who is only married to a British citizen. It makes no sense, but they are totally and completely owned by Meghan. And this squatty posted about the South Park episode that they want us to forget about. The one that is much more scandalous and scathing than the one about Harry and Meghan. This is the one about Kitty and Willie. And as you can see, he has ripped Kitty's arm off and is presently pegging himself with. But I digress. As you can see, the Daily Mail wrote about it at the time and said South Park's history of dragging the Royals episode Royal Pudding spoofs William and Kate, where William is pegging himself as bride to be was watching. Yes, but they forget about that episode. They always want to talk about the episode about Harry and Meghan and how it's some turning point. I mean, it is ridiculous. And the squatter that posted it said, laugh out loud. Funny how they always forget about this South Park episode. Yes, they forget about that one. And to me, it is the funniest next to the one that has the queen in the box. Yes, South Park spoofed the dead queen. So you know that this is nothing new with Harry and Meghan, but they want to try to make it into something because they don't have nothing. When you don't have nothing, you try to make something out of nothing. I'm just saying. And I want to give an update on the Crown Princess's son and his court case. Now, this squatty posted this and said, Crown Princess of Norway, Marie's son, after he tried to be released, has been rejected. Marcus Borg has entered the hospital without any other news about the reason why. I think it was about 2 podcasts back that I had reported that he had been released. Y'all remember I said that he was trying to get released because of his mother's illness. She has fibrosis. And so they were saying that she couldn't breathe well when she came to the prison to visit him. And her illness had progressed to the point where she had been placed on the transplant list. Y'all remember that? And let me tell you, the comments were brutal. They were, because they wanted to get him released not because he was ill, but because of his mother's illness, that she couldn't breathe somehow when she came to visit him. And it looks like that plan did not work. They did not release him. And it seems to be that they have decided to go to plan B. And plan B is for him to feign an illness and go in the hospital. Who believes that? But we all know that's in the Royal Handbook. That's Royalty 101. If you have an illness, play it up. If you don't have an illness, make it up. Yes, that right there is the royal way. And this squatty came up under there and said, I suppose walking around with oxygen did not get her SEXUAL predator son released. The crown prince should have never married this woman. Now she with her JE connections and he with his sexual predator actions have shamed the royal family. Now you can't get around that. They have shamed the royal family. And I blame the crown prince. Not her son, him. He chose her. Because you can't tell me that this man, with all the resources in the world at his fingertips, that he did not do a background check on her. He had to know who she was. And this is the woman he chose to be his queen and reign with him. The woman he chose to sit beside him on the throne. That's why I say if anybody is to blame here, it's Holcomb, Prince Holcomb. I mean, who has about as much judgment as a gnat. But y'all tell me what y'all think. And I got one more piece of information about this I want to share. This came out today and it's from CNN and it says the stepson of Norway's crown prince has been found guilty of 2 counts of ape, 1 count of domestic violence and other crimes and is sentenced to 4 years in prison, and Oslo court ruled. And the squatty came in those comments, and I'm telling you, the comments were brutal as well because they're saying he was found guilty of all of this and he only got 4 years. This squatty said, 4 effing years? Why bother for F's sake? Yes, 4 years being found guilty of 2 counts of ape. Here in America, you can go to prison for life on 2 counts of ape. I'm just saying. So yeah, and now he's in the hospital feigning like he's sick. So he might not spend a day in prison. He might stay in the hospital for those 4 years, or really a good time. I don't know if they have good time like they have over here, but they take time off your sentence if you're good. So over here, he could be out in 2 years. And I don't know about Norway if they have to do day for day, but 4 years for two apes and a DV and other crimes, you get 4 years. Okay. Y'all tell me what y'all think about this. All right, y'all, moving on. This is more stuff that's none of my business, but we all know I don't mind my business like Megan. I'm going to play this and we're going to talk about it on the other side.
Right here. Yeah, lovely. Victoria, over to your left. Guys, everyone down low, please. All five, right here. Next smile. Over to your left, guys. And one more straight. David, straight ahead, big smile for me. There it is. And everyone on the right, please. And everybody to the right.
Y'all, what was that? What was that? They are saying that they gave David Beckham a star on the Hollywood Walk of Fame. Now, this man bootlicked and brown nosed to the point it was embarrassing until he finally got that family to give him a knighthood. And now he is on to the next one. Can someone please tell me what David Beckham has done in the film industry that justifies him getting a star on the Hollywood Walk of Fame? To my knowledge, he has only did cameos playing himself. So how did he get a star? I mean, enlighten me, because if you told me this star was for sports, football, I would say, okay, that makes sense. But for a Hollywood Walk of Fame, that is a 2 + 2 = 5 to me. The squatty that posted this said, Brand Beckham, everything for a pose. Look at Victoria, obsessed with posing. Brooklyn was so right in everything he said. Their daughter is 14 years old and has been doing events nonstop for years, taking time out of school. Their sons didn't study anything, having so much money and opportunity. Where is the lie? They are so superficial. They are absolutely so fake. This is a family of Kate Middletons. What achievements have they done? Because don't tell me the Spice Girls, because the Spice Girls was a team effort and a lot of it was very much manufactured in the studio. But I digress on that point. They are a family of posers. I mean, no substance. Hollow vessels, these people are. And they will do anything for the cameras to snap. They are absolute fame whores.
You want me to bring the receipts? Do I need to bring the receipts, baby girl? Because I got receipts.
And if you don't believe me, look at this. This is from the New York Post, a Murdoch rag. It says Harper Beckham goes to Brooklyn's LA mansion in desperate attempt to heal rift, but leaves second later without seeing him. Now, isn't it strange that she went to his house and there was the Paps waiting for her? From the New York Post and Page 6, both Murdoch rags. This squatty said, so let me get this straight. David and Victoria sent their 14-year-old daughter to show up unannounced to Brooklyn's house. He wasn't home, but paparazzi were conveniently there to capture the moment and make him look like the bad guy for turning his little sister away. Yes, fame whores. Now, I'm not saying that the child Harper is. I'm talking about David and Victoria Beckham. They set this up in order to get PR. This is all it's about. They knew They knew that this was not going to do anything to improve their relationship with their son, Brooklyn. They knew this. I don't even think they probably want to improve their relationship with Brooklyn because it is a good way for them to continue to use this riff as a good source of PR, to be able to continue to go to the same well over and over and over again for PR. And this squatty posted this, and it says Harper Beckham apparently tried to visit her brother Brooklyn and his wife at their LA home, but he wasn't there. Strangely enough, Paps and the New York Post, page 6, has an exclusive articles and pictures. Who think this was staged by David and Victoria? Of course it was. Of course it was. A bunch of posers and fame whores. Yes, will do anything to get their names in the paper because of their obsessive need to try to stay relevant. Y'all tell me what y'all think. Am I being too hard on them? But I don't think so. And y'all know I love to end on a positive note. And Zanny Sussex posted this, and it says, watching the Invictus game flag being flown by jetpack to the Pendennis Castle in Cornwall is just plain cool. The guy on the jetpack even looks like Prince Harry. I had to do a double take. I mean, I got up close and personal to see if this really was Harry because he looks a lot like him. And I'm still not convinced it's not him. Y'all tell me what y'all think. It says the flag began its journey in Canada after the 2025 Invictus Games and has since traveled across the UK by sea on its way to Birmingham 2027. Before this jetpack leg, the flag completed a 2,000-mile voyage around the UK with wounded, injured, and sick veterans. What a wonderful reminder, the resilience, the courage, and the community that makes Invictus so special. Absolutely. All right, y'all. Y'all know I always love my time I spend with y'all, and I will be back soon. But one thing, well, a few things. If you want to support the channel, so many ways to do that. Look down under your screen, the three dots, click that, and this is the super thanks. And if you want to be a part of the reading club here on YouTube, it is a link right below. You can just click that and follow all the prompts. And if you want to support me over on Patreon, I really would love for you to join over there on Patreon because I do post over there quite a bit and it's free. But if you want to support me over there, you can do that as well. And that is patreon.com/The Royal Read. Or you can do Buy Me a Coffee, and that is buymeacoffee.com/The Royal Read. Also, I got Cash App, I got PayPal. All of it is in my channel bio. Also, if you have the hype up button, please hype your girl up so this podcast can go out to new eyeballs and we can continue to grow the channel. I would be so happy and so thankful if you would do that as well. All right, y'all. I will see y'all next time. Bye.